got a segment already is on this. She will be dealing with it. I'm inviting you guys to have a front seat so you can see what happened. And listen to this. I want you to watch this. This stuff is about 43 minutes long. Now listen, I wouldn't be putting this out here, you guys, if my stuff that's going on in my heart is trying to make me be as informative as I can to the world, not just the American people, but the whole world. Is based on my objective to fix this planet, not just America. See, that's what's wrong. You get presidents of this country talking about fixing this country. We have a dichotomized state of existence that's so bad that the president really believes he can fix this country, and by this country being fixed and the rest of the country still being broke, that our problem is solved. But it's not. See, because if America does have no war policies, no poverty, no anything, but you have other countries that's out there that still have these problems, then the problem is still ours. Because if we sit here and ignore the fact that we need to be helping those people, then that make us all a bunch of hypocrites and never standing up to amount to what the whole freaking mission statement about who we are as a people, individual people, because this country mission statement ain't nowhere near close what my mission statement is. But I tell you what my mission statement is to be a divine God at all times. And that means that I am supposed to be a person that is offering my time and my personification to my fellow man, my fellow woman, my brother and my sister, to try to be a solution to world crisis. See, Americans are selfish and self-centered. That's the only reason why our presidents are only talking about America. And you never hear them saying anything about helping Africa or giving relief to anyone else. The only thing you hear them talking about is going to give hell to someone else, starting wars with other people and all that stuff like that. So that's what I'm trying to get at. I want you guys to understand that we have a very corrupt judicial system in this city. Once you get up in that courtroom, the prosecutors are all just, and I'm not going to say all of them, but I just know from my experience around the world, all prosecutors, even if they see that you are innocent, not one of them will come to the bar and say to the judge, Your Honor, my findings bring me to the determination that this man is not guilty of this crime and we should dismiss this case. No, they just won't do that because they are so hungry to become a judge or to become something else that's a form of politics, that the only thing they want to do is make their number of head count go up. So even if they know you're not a guilty person, their scrutiny and their moral concept of how they should deal with that be turned off. They don't care. They will send an innocent man to jail in a heartbeat as long as it could be another motherfucking scratch on their belt, another bullet that they could say they got to kill with. That's how it goes. So I don't have no love for none of these corrupt ass judges, none of these preachers, none of these prosecutors, none of these pimps, none of these drug dealers. All of them go together with me. Every last one. I don't care about it. And even the good police are bad police because of association with a corrupt system that pays them their paycheck. This is what I mean. A policeman could go out there and get killed in the line of battle because he did an honorable deal by trying to stop someone else from hurting another person. Do those type of police exist? Hell yeah, they do. Will the police jump through a window to save a small child in a burning fire? Hell yeah, they will. It's all kind of good policemen out there. The problem is we have a bad system that hire the policemen. So by default, that makes the police corrupt. And that's the stuff we need to change. We should not be living in a society where civil workers are tarnished just because their bosses are criminals. In any civil worker today, whether it's a fireman, a paramedic unit, or whatever, if it's paid by the United States government, federal, state, or county, it's getting paid with blood money because we have 500 years of slavery that accumulated most of the wealth of this country. Just think about that. Now I hope you guys enjoy this because it's really good.
think you know the whole story? Think again. I've been governor, a Navy SEAL, a fighter. I've heard things that'll blow your mind. And now I think it's time you get the whole story.
Now, the secret government plan to spy on, round up, and imprison innocent Americans.
Anybody that seeks to challenge the status quo could potentially be a violent threat.
Jesse Ventura uncovers a plot to force martial law on law-abiding citizens.
Certainly the involvement of the military is something that's very concerning.
Replace the 50 states with 10 giant prison sectors. Fill up hundreds of concentration camps with people like you and me.
They call them residential centers.
Residential centers with fences?
Because they're designed to hold whole families.
And pull the trigger with a disease pandemic.
There's this massive preparation, literal megadeth.
It's not a fantasy. The wheels are in motion. And politicians are passing laws to steal our freedoms and protect the elite.
I'm here to talk to you about these FEMA camps.
They don't exist.
So why was it put into that bill?
Before it's too late, Jesse Ventura cuts through the laser wire, storms the prisons, and blasts open the American concentration camp conspiracy.
I'm Jesse Ventura, and this is Conspiracy Theory.
Madison, Georgia. Jesse Ventura's investigation of a police state conspiracy has led him here. After weeks of traveling to sites of alleged concentration camps for innocent citizens, he's arrived at the most chilling display of all.
What in the hell is this?
Coffin. It's hundreds of thousands of coffins.
And if they had to get rid of people or dissidents, they got the caskets for it, don't they?
Yes, and we found stockpiles all over the country.
In this conspiracy business, you hear a lot of stories about America turning into a police state.
Okay, let me tell you guys something. All those little tubs that you saw, they look like they designed where you could put like maybe 4 or 5 bodies in each one of them. Here's the deal. If you had some refrigerated trucks, you could put all those bodies in those little containers right there. Load them into reefer trucks. Listen to what I'm saying to you. You guys know those tractor trailers, those 53-foot trailers? They make those things with freezers on them. So now, if you're a government and you have a whole fleet of trucks and you have those black boxes in a place where you plan on doing mass murder, what you eradicate is a need for a big killing floor. Let me explain to you what I mean. In World War II, when Nazi Germany's were murdering all those people, they built huge concentration camps, and what they did is they shipped people all around the country on trains, all over Europe, from all over the whole continent. They shipped them all over from way, way, way far regions where you would not believe, because they only showed you a small area where they were sending these people from. But what they did is they put them all on trains as live cargo. So they learned from that. What they figured out was, let's not move live cargo the next time. We're going to move dead cargo. So what you see right there is refrigerated packaging for dead bodies. They will probably kill you, put you inside of those things, put a lid on it, and then stick you in those refrigerated trailers and send you to a massive burial site that they're probably excavating already. You know, we always see them moving with excavating equipment and everything. And the reason why they want to populate the people off of the earth as fast as they can is because they know if they are planning on holding out somewhere, they know that people could reproduce after all the calamities are over and become a threat to them, because people could reproduce really fast on top of the earth, and then knowing that if once you know where they at, with enough time and enough effort, you will get in there at their ass. So they want to do everything they can to eradicate as many people, not to mention the fact that the knowledge of self is coming back on the earth. So that's the main reason that they have to exterminate so many people, especially people like me, organizers and knowledgeable people who can stand up a task force to strike back against them and to fight, especially when somebody brings, you know what I'm saying, starships with them. You know they're really going to be trying their best to intimidate me, to make me join forces with them. Do you understand what it would be like if I wanted to go to China right now? How crazy they would act if they thought I wanted to leave this country and go to China? You know, see, you guys is missing the whole dynamics of it. They don't really want to fuck with me, I know that. But see, they want to see how far I'm willing to let them intimidate me. And I let them know right off the top, okay, I'm not playing no games. Don't play games with me. But believe me, what they know as well as I do, that they do not want me to go to China or Africa. I bet you right now, if I tried to leave this country, they will have a damn fit. But they was like that to begin with. But the fact that they see I have this unique connection with the sun, even if they do want to play their little stupid game with me to see just how much knowledge I have of myself, believe me, they would not want me to leave this country, just as well as no city in this on this freaking planet. What kind of city would you be stupid as hell to have someone with that type of arsenal backing them up for you not to want that person to live in your city? That shows you how much idiocy they have. And it's only because I'm black. Now imagine if I was a white person that was showing that type of attachment to the sun, and the sun interacted with me that way. You'll see me on all motherfucking type of TV shows, and they'll be showing everybody, look what this guy is doing with, look at what the sun is doing for him. But the fact that I'm a black guy and I'm the real solar man, and they know that, they gonna try to push everything under the rug and keep it quiet, because people like me can stop this shit right here from happening. But that's what this stuff they're trying to do in here. That's why I was sent here, to make sure that this shit doesn't happen. But I'm not going to be able to do it if you guys don't believe in me and don't believe that what I'm telling you is true. Now listen, that's the only thing those black boxes could be for, because they plan on doing mass murder somewhere and storing bodies and sticking them into some type of, because otherwise why would they care to have those boxes? They could just dig holes and throw bodies in the ground wherever they dig a hole at. But see, this is because they have a designated place that they plan on getting rid of all the bodies at. And that's the reason why they have those containers to put the bodies in, because they want to ship the bodies as fast and as neatly as possible. Now think about that, okay? And believe me, they could put a lot of those little black boxes with a lot of bodies in it on a whole lot of refrigerated box cars, and they won't have to worry about them stinking all across the damn country. And that's what their whole thing is.
Most of the time it's only stories. But every once in a while, you get the truth from the most unlikely source. In this case, it was Catherine Bleich, a young woman from Missouri. Look at her. With the teenage earrings, short skirt. She's just a girl, really. Like anyone's daughter or neighbor down the street. Why would anybody bother messing with her?
I found out that an agency in my state had issued a report saying that I should be considered a threat to law enforcement.
Wait, hold on. Let's back up a little. Catherine, who are you? Do you belong to a subversive group?
No.
Have you ever?
No.
You haven't belonged to anything that the government would consider subversive, or like the Hells Angels?
No, I was a delegate for the state of Missouri as a supporter of Ron Paul to the RNC in 2008.
They labeled you as subversive, and all you were doing was practicing your First Amendment rights in this country, and you learned they put you on a watch list?
Yes.
Let me get this straight. She campaigns for a legitimate presidential candidate. What's more American than that? Yet she's labeled a threat. Something's not right. I thought we had a constitution that protects against that. Well, fear trumps freedom every time.
Well, it actually involves the Department of Homeland Security and these institutions that have been popping up all over the country called fusion centers. Have you heard of those?
After 9/11, Homeland Security and the Justice Department set them up in cities around the country. Command centers that gather and analyze information from government agencies, police departments, and private sources, supposedly to prevent terrorism. So, these fusion centers are, on the surface, look like a good idea, combining the federal, state, and local law enforcement, sharing their knowledge, sharing their abilities to provide safety to us in case of a terrorist-type situation.
Well, I thought so at first. Then we filed open records requests, got copies of 11 reports. Most of them were political profiling documents, and they profiled all types of ideologies and lifestyles.
I'd think this young gal was putting me on if it wasn't all on the record. These fusion centers have police powers, and centers around the country have been accused of targeting all sorts of people and groups. Ordinary folks who might be pro-life, pro-gun, part of a big church, support a third party, or just attend college. Not terrorists.
I didn't know what a fusion center was, just knew there was a report that said that I should be considered a threat. I basically dropped everything to figure out what was going on.
When this young lady went out to find why she was being targeted, the powers that be were not polite.
I take custody of my right now. I ain't afraid of this dog. Stop!
Who'd sick a dog on a girl?
In Missouri, when I showed up to Governor Nixon's office to submit an open records request, I was thrown out by Highway Patrol.
I'm telling you, you are to leave this office.
And they fall under the Department of Homeland Security?
Yes, Department of Homeland Security.
Well, it's the old standard. When the government tells you they're going to protect you, get ready because you're going to lose your freedoms.
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly.
It's that simple, protection and freedoms. I personally would rather have my freedoms and face the danger rather than them making me safe and locking me up. Catherine Bleich left me with some leads and the makings of a real conspiracy. I had my team all over it before I got back to our base.
Yeah, Governor, there are 72 of these fusion centers around the country.
Yeah, and as I understand it, they coordinate information from the CIA to the FBI to the state police as well as the local police.
The biggest problem with all of this is there's no oversight.
And did you know they've been sued? They're supposed to be watching for terrorists, but they've actually gone after protesters.
Yeah, even conspiracy theorists.
Conspiracy theorists.
Yes, even conspiracy theorists. Obama's regulatory czar, Cass Sunstein, has written a paper saying that conspiracy theorizing should be banned altogether.
Obviously, there's a lot more to this. I want to know everything about these fusion centers.
Brilliant. I'm on it.
And get me a flight to D.C. immediately.
Got it.
Everyone had leads to chase. I had a source in the Capitol. Mike German spent 16 years as an FBI special agent, infiltrating terror cells and preventing acts of terrorism before 9/11. A few years after 9/11, he got so fed up with the foul-ups and abuses within the Bureau, he quit. Now he's focused on reining in those fusion centers.
It develops in such secrecy with no guidelines and no oversight, so the public really has no way to hold these institutions accountable.
No guidelines, no oversight, bad enough. But it's what he told me next that really made my blood boil.
Where they start collecting things that aren't necessarily reasonably associated with criminality, that's where the problems start. In some programs, even expressing extreme views.
Wait. Who?
Okay, this is what they mean. What I was saying to you guys earlier about the hospitals telling you what type of furnishing arrangements you should have in your home before you can leave there with your child. And all of this based on the fact that they've taken control of all the actions around mothers birthing their child on this planet. They've even made it almost where if you birth your child at home because you don't want to be involved with getting in debt with the hospital. Now this is the game they play. If you go to the hospital, the average person that's having a baby can't afford what it costs to have a baby because they make the prices so out of reach for everybody. So by the hospital birthing your child for you, that gives them permission to dictate over you what you can do with this child. And that's the reason why your child is issued a birth certificate. Now, a person that birthed their child at home, there's no birth certificate attached to their child. So that means that the state can't say they own your child because the state did not birth your child in their hospital birthing facility. See how that works? So that's what I'm talking about. This is the type of control they've been utilizing on us forever. And so now they get to the point where they see with their wicked asses that there's too many people on the earth. Now this is just a handful of white men. Government, the Congress of this country and other countries, European countries, all white people that's getting together deciding now that they want to murder everybody on the planet.
Please God here on the definition of what's an extreme view.
Coming up, Jesse goes after the thought police, and he finds out you better watch what you say.
Law enforcement officials believe that anybody that seeks to challenge the status quo will be a violent threat.
Then, confrontation at the government facility that's gathering secrets on all of us.
We don't watch people, we do watch trends. But aren't trends people?
And later, the governor exposes a police state prison camp built for you and me.
If this is a residential center, why on the sign does it say you can't bring in anything that can help lead someone to escape?
Jesse Ventura is beginning to unravel the police-state conspiracy. While his investigators follow leads across the country, the governor is in the nation's capital. He's arranged a discreet meeting with former FBI agent Mike German about the growing nightmare of fusion centers, the government's latest way of gathering information on you and me.
When we first produced a report in 2007 about this, there were 42 fusion centers. Now there are more than 72, so they're growing very rapidly.
What's the reason for the secrecy on their part?
There's obviously a very unfortunate history with police intelligence activities in the United States, particularly targeting political groups. So I think part of the secrecy was to allow this thing to develop before anybody found out much about it.
Okay, who's in charge of it?
That's the best question out there, and the answer is nobody.
That says to me it's ripe for abuse.
Absolutely.
See, now what you guys is looking at is the same way the world was when I grew up in the 60s. Those people getting beat by that policeman and that policeman standing there with that German Shepherd and all that stuff that we just saw was typical. When I told you guys I saw a man get killed in Detroit when I was a kid, I was not lying.
And later,
This is what
the governor exposes a
the average
police-state
Detroit
prison
looks
camp
like.
built for you.
I'm going to show you something. When you see this scenario come up, this issue right here, we already know they're at the little concentration camp, right, where they're going to be trying to convince families of people you need to live here so we can protect you. That's what they're going to try to do to everybody. They're going to want you to believe that the criminals is me, my bike stealing ass, you know what I'm saying? But the real deal is they want people all in little concentration camps so they can always be able to monitor everything you do and control you better. It's just, that's all it is. Just a more method, a more elaborate way to control you. So when they want a little girl, 18 or something like that, they can just go get one. You're going to be right there, no guns, no nothing, because you living where you're completely controlled. So they take everything from you, where you won't have nothing to defend yourself against them. You know, that's what it's all boiling down to. 100% control. That's what they want. Now this is Detroit right here in the 60s when I grew up. In 1960 Detroit, this is what was going on. All that stuff you just saw right there. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I got a big old wasp flying around in here.
Almost no or weak oversight and no way for the public to get any kind of accountability over these institutions.
That sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Open the door, I'm gonna bust it down!
While I was speaking with a terror expert, my investigator June was in Austin, Texas. She was there to meet an underground group of Fusion Center watchdogs. They call themselves Operation Defuse. Their leader is John Bush.
John Bush? Operation
Operation Defuse is a movement of individuals whose purpose is to educate activists and the American public about the growing threat of the fusion center.
So why is it important to defuse the nation?
Well, see, with the fusion centers, law enforcement officials believe that anybody that seeks to challenge the status quo could potentially be a violent threat.
For those of you who's kind of not getting the whole point of what they're saying, defuse something means that you take the mechanism that can make it explode away, all right? If you had a bomb that was, let's say I had a stick of dynamite, all right? If I lit the dynamite and threw it at someone and someone picked the dynamite up and put the fire out, that would be called extinguishing the fire or defusing it. All right. Another way to defuse it will be to grab a hold to the wick that's stuck in the dynamite and completely pull the wick out, thus leaving the stick of dynamite useless. As long as you move the fuse away in the ignition source, the dynamite should not explode. I mean, there's other methods of making it explode, but it will not be with a fuse because you remove the fuse away. So the American public is going to be upset with all these bankers and all this high ass rent and all this high food cost and all this stuff that we know is because somebody is taking advantage of us. The reason for the diffusion centers is because when they put you all in there and force you to drink water and eat food and everything, that they got so full of drugs and everything, well, you're just going to be walking around like a zombie all damn day until they decide that whatever they're going to do to you to make you meet your demise, it's time for you. Up until that point, you will be giving them no resistance at all because you'll be heavily sedated, heavily guarded, locked down all the time. In other words, everybody in this country has been targeted to become criminals and prisoners. If you're not a part of the status quo, your ass is going to be in a concentration camp or something worse than that.
Have there been abuses that you know of?
There have been a number of fusion center reports that have leaked that indicate that, yes, they are targeting groups because of their political beliefs.
They're gonna bust you for thinking. They're here. The thought police. Now you can get arrested for what you believe in. What you buy, what you read, who you associate with.
What he means by that is now that type of behavior has become traced back to white people. It's always been a time where that was going on, but mostly it was done to melanated people. Saved the time of Europe where it was first expedited on you guys, all right? I mean, they did it on you guys real fast, got y'all asses trained, whipped into shape, and then helped y'all go through Asia and Africa and then the Americas, all right? But now they done got so rich from ripping all our melanated people out that they have 100% power and they don't care about you white people no more. That help them to do the shit. And that's really it, nothing to share. So they get ready to fuck everybody up now.
Right, and they've started a suspicious activity reporting program.
What do we quote and put under suspicious activity?
Some of the behaviors are things like photography, taking videos, drawing diagrams, taking measurements, even expressing extreme views. Originally, the suspicious activity reporting program was directed at law enforcement, so at least they had some training in the law. But now they're actually public programs where they put out videos that show planes crashing into towers and say, you can prevent this by reporting your neighbors.
What's happened when you have gone to investigate these fusion centers?
At the Ohio Fusion Center, we were met with about 4 very big armed guards when we went in there, simply to deliver an open records request. Yeah, this one's really scary. This is the Arizona Fusion Center, and we interviewed this woman right here, and she actually informed us that they run organizers of protests. They run their name through their databases. I asked her if I were to organize a rally, would she run my name through the Fusion Center databases? Yes. She said yes. So that's legitimate First Amendment activity.
With a lot of this.
See, that stuff right there, that First Amendment crap and all that, you know, I'll never waste time on that because, first of all, who are you to believe the wolf? Okay, the wolf gonna tell you, okay, I'm not gonna eat the chickens. Just go to the market and bring me back a Shasta and all that good stuff, and I'll just watch the little chickadees for you. And when you get back, it'll be all good. You ain't got nothing to worry about. That's the same type of ritual your ass will be performing when you sit your ass up and try to believe that a government that you know is being responsible for all the atrocious shit. London Towers, okay, the Roman Colosseum, alright, the crimes of the church over in the Vatican, all the crimes of everyone through Europe, the Christian Crusade, alright, the incarceration, bad slavery, bad treatment, castration, burnings, lynchings of the melanated people that was all done to us in this country. And then all of a sudden, right, we only supposed to sit back and believe that these people could one day have our best interest at hand. We are all the first persons who should stand up and take a real quick bow for being the most dumbest assholes ever in the history of all life forms in this whole freaking galaxy.
Collection of the suspicious activity reporting, the government takes what they think is a pattern or a profile and they apply that to you.
To me, Mike, that's as anti-American as you can get.
Right, and it creates a huge chilling effect where people